Hi there, how are you all? I know a little bit of a different get up. I just got back from jog. Anyway, listen to this very carefully. I'm going to read you something. A man once said that wisdom is my capital, reason is the force of my religion, love is my foundation, longing is my vehicle, the remembrance of God my constant pleasure, trust is my treasure, morning is my companion, not morning. Knowledge is my arm, patience is my robe, contentment is my reward, poverty is my pride, asceticism is my profession, conviction is my strength, truthfulness my intercessor, obedience my argument. Obedience is my argument, holy war my ethics, and prayer my supreme pleasure. Prayer is my supreme pleasure. Who do you think said this? Yeah, I'm sure you would have guessed, at least some of you. Okay, but this is remarkable, isn't it? And this is, I'm quoting from the book The Life of Muhammad, written by Haikal, way back when in the previous century by the then Egyptian Minister of Education. Now, this statement was said by Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, when Ali radiallahu anha, that is one of his closest companions, and his son-in-law asked him, what is your sunnah? What is your tradition? What is prophetic tradition? That is when he said that wisdom is my capital, reason is the force of my religion. Listen to that. Reason is the force of my religion. Love is my foundation. Longing, wanting. Sometimes I feel like is it wanting death? Right? Longing. Right? Longing is my vehicle. The remembrance of God, that is in Arabic you call it taqwa, is my constant pleasure. Trust is my treasure. Mourning is my companion, that is, weeping, showing sadness, is my companion, my friend. Knowledge is my arm, patience is my robe, contentment, happiness 24/7, always. Regardless of whether the worst thing happens to you, contentment is my reward. And poverty is my pride. Asceticism, that is, um, being wary, being careful with everything in the simplest form. My profession, it's my job. Conviction is my strength. Truthfulness, my intercessor. Obedience is my argument. Holy war, my ethics. And prayer is my supreme pleasure. So actually this is a translation, and you know that Arabic translations are especially with a weak language as English, because I've recently found, after I started creating content and after I really started exploring the language of English, I've started reading a lot, and I've realized, and matching it with the Quran and other religious scriptures like the Bible, etc., right, which even though they are questionable, that it is really good literature. uh, it's such a weak language, such a new language, a language that is at its infant stages. And when you really think about it, the Arabic language, and if you and languages in the middle, languages that have been derived through Arabic, like Pali, Sanskrit, um, even at the later stages, languages like Sinhalese, right, with the Orientalist source, Orientalist impression, are very advanced. They are very, very detailed, very advanced. Tamil, right? Tamil is such a beautiful, such an advanced language. Like English can't even come close to Tamil, right? So in such a situation, this is a very loose translation. But one thing that I want to take your attention to is, he says, reason is the force of my religion. And as I've started reading a lot and thinking a lot and contemplating a lot and trying to, really develop content that will help you understand yourself better and to, just figure out your purpose on earth, I've realized that the fundamental thing, okay, in Islam. And one thing that a lot of people misunderstand is that you have to blindly believe in God. Like you have to like have blind faith. But that is not the case. Consistently and continuously throughout the entire religion, throughout the entire history of Islam, that is from Adam, right? From the first person, from the first human being. But Adam met God. Adam alayhi salam, he knew God personally, right? God, I think, yes, there was a very close connection. At least we know for a fact that Adam alayhi salam had the closest connection, being the first creation in terms of man, right? Of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But throughout this entire history of humankind, one thing has been very clearly communicated. That is, you should not believe anything blindly. I'm serious. Okay, even for Muslims, right? In the Quran, there are two types of Muslims. Muslims who say they are believers, but they don't. And Muslims who say they believe and they do. Okay, now that is why you can't, from the outer appearance, you can't look at a person and call that person a Muslim. You might be born into a Muslim family, but you might not be a Muslim in your heart, right? I feel like for the longest time, I didn't really understand the true meaning of what being a Muslim means. It's, my God, when you really understand it, and I'm glad that that Allah has blessed me at some point in my life to figure this out. And I'm just trying to, in the little understanding I have, share it with you. But the reason that every single thing, the more you read, the more you understand, the more you think, the more you contemplate, the more you think about your place on earth, what you're doing, what is happening to you, what is going to happen to you, what you're trying to do, the more you realize that there is reason behind everything. There is nothing on earth, in the universe, that is illogical. Every single thing is logical. But only when we explore that idea, and only when we find the reason, then our faith becomes really strong, because we are not blindly following something. We have reasoned it. We know, by reason, we have proof that this is true. And this is the concept that I'm trying to promote, that why I say that you should be critically thinking, that you should critically think. Because a lot of people come and tell you so many things, a lot of content is out there, YouTube, social media, fake news, blah, 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 blah. So many things, so much of content and information that is being just plowed down upon you. You have to figure out what to believe and what not to believe. Now, how do you figure out what you should be believing? By reasoning it. By figuring out exactly, is there a valid argument behind this? Is there valid evidence behind this? That's the idea. Okay, so the fundamental, the core under Islam, the foundation of Islam, for example, and all the prophets, all the religions before Islam that preached the oneness of God, right? Isa alayhi salam, Nuh alayhi salam, that is Noah, Adam alayhi salam, Yusuf alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam, Daud alayhi salam, everyone, Solomon, Sulaiman alayhi salam, right? Yunus alayhi salam, every single person who preached this, Ibrahim alayhi salam. And the thing about Prophet Abraham, or Ibrahim alayhi salam, who was at the time, Musa alayhi salam, right? The thing about them is they were very, very, very perceptive. I can't even imagine how perceptive Prophet Abraham must have been. Because first he looked at his people and they were worshipping a stone. And then he realized, okay, this stone is really not powerful. The stone can't really do anything. It's just sitting there, right? Even if we want to do something with the stone, we have to apply some pressure to it. And then he realized, okay, there are people who actually worships the sun and the moon, right? Celestial objects. Then he was looking at the sun. And then he realized, okay, I don't know, he must have realized the full depth of this. But like, we can't comprehend it. We have to comprehend, like, we have to look at the sun and understand it for ourselves, right? He thought about it, And he realizes, okay, look, the sun is rising, but if it rises, it has to set. If it sets, it will rise. And the sun can't do anything other than that. It has a appointed time to appear to a certain frame of the world, and after that it has to go. It will set. In your perception, it will set. So even if the sun wanted, right, the sun, even if it wanted to stay, it wants to stay and it wants to, just give us light continuously, or it wants to never rise again, it can't. So literally the sun, which we think is so powerful and which gives a lot of energy to earth, blah, 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 can't do anything except what it has been appointed to do. So it's not powerful. So he realized that. Right? So this realization led him to ask the question, okay, then who created the sun? Right? So you keep asking, you keep going along those lines, and Prophet Abraham's example is like, my God, I can't, like, when the Quran speaks about Prophet Abraham, I feel like the Quran has simplified it so that everyone can understand. Every person who reads the Quran can understand. But when you really deeply try to reflect on those sentences, on those lines about how Prophet Abraham went about understanding, or went about, because he was knocking on doors. Nobody told him to believe in God. He himself just kept asking the questions and logically realized, oh, right, it's the creator, right? So when you really go through that sequence, I feel like we can't even come close to his level of IQ and perception. He's that perceptive. So this is what we need. We need to reason, and even in the simplest things of our life, when we live our life, in the simplest of things, everything is logical. Everything has a pattern. Everything, you go against the deemed pattern, designed pattern, you bring back calamity on yourself. That's why, like, there is a saying in Sinhala called Kalakam Palade, which is in our native language in Sri Lanka, which is that you reap what you sow. So that's like a basic rule in life. Like Einstein said it as his third rule, saying every action has a reaction, equal and opposite reaction. I mean, that's so obvious. You don't even have to say it. Yeah, we didn't need Einstein to come up with that. Really, like if Einstein were here, I would tell him, dude, this is so simple, such a simple idea, and you're pitching it like this. Okay, it was found, and it was there from eons. It was there from the moment of creation. As far as man is involved, right? Whatever we do, we are gonna get that in return. Okay, so reason was the force of your thought, or reason was the force of Prophet's thought. Reason was the force of Prophet Abraham's thought. Reason, because these are men, okay, these are normal men, right? They were chosen to be messengers, they were chosen to be warners, but they are men. Simple, like us. So if they could do it, we also can do it. That's the whole point. And they're not at a different level, and we are not at a different level. So it's just the conviction, and it's the frame of mind. So if their force of thought was reason, our force of our thought also must be reason. So I'm inviting all of you to make sure that when you do anything in life, when you talk to people, when you convey a message, when you create a speech, when you ask someone to do something, when you I don't know, man, when you go to school, when you apply to bachelors, when you get married, when you build a house, when you do a business, reason should be the force of your thought, and ultimately the force of your conviction, the force of your faith in God. Thank you so much. May peace be upon all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.